And welcome. I'm Arif, the moderator of today's podcast, and it's my pleasure to introduce Kerri Diggle, president of SuiteWorks Business Centers. Kerri, I'm glad to be here with you today.
I'm glad to have you on our show. Thank you.
Thanks. This is fun. This is your show. This is SuiteWorks podcast, and it's an awesome opportunity for me to be able to actually interview the interviewer as a way of getting this podcast series started. But I think it makes a lot of sense for our listeners and our audience as we grow to be able to share, really what's the impetus behind this? Why are we doing this? And so why don't you start that? Why are we actually putting together a show produced by SuiteWorks Business Centers for the business community?
There's a lot of information going around right now with business centers, co-working spaces, shared space. And, unless you know what you need, you're not going to know what you need.
Oh, I like that.
So help to educate. We want to educate people in regards to the sector, what we can offer, what we can do for you, but else, save time, help with costs, a little bit of everything.
So let's get into some of that today. I think today as our pilot, if you will, the maiden voyage, we're going to cover a few things that people can anticipate will come out as future episodes in the podcast. But really, as you said, it's designed to assist the business community. And I'm guessing by your statement, it may be people who are new or newer into entering into the idea of business, to educate and provide some additional valuable resources how to operate business successfully.
Absolutely. I mean, COVID's just propelled the business even more forward than it was. And as you know, we're going into our 18th year in business. So we've been through a lot of hills and valleys through all this time. But what we found with COVID is there's new people that are researching and trying to find what ways that they can work. Maybe their home situation isn't the best because there's 3 or 4 people working from home and their bandwidth at home isn't working. Or maybe they need to have some conference calls that they just need, heads down, no distraction type of calls, so they need a quiet place to come to, something with a fiber internet, things like that. Like the list could go on with the items that people are looking for.
And I think over the next several minutes together, we'll get into some of that list and really what options are available to people who are considering what should I do next. And if there's one thing, as you touched on it, we learned over the past few years, certainly as a result of the pandemic, pretty much everything changed. And for many, that was obviously, and certainly I don't think there's any sugarcoating it, it was a tough several years for a number of people. There were the statistics weren't friendly to some businesses, to some business sectors, and to those who weren't prepared. But for those who were prepared and are agile, there are some silver linings that have come out of it. Maybe let's talk on some of those silver linings that you at SuiteWorks Business Centers noticed that really came to fruition or were catalyzed by the pandemic.
Well, I think it's just the flexibility in work. So there's, now you've got the opportunity to be flexible with your employees. You no longer had that nuance of having to go to the office every single day. Now you need to become innovative and find new ways to help your employees work or just start your business and try to figure out who's there to support you during the way. And with us being, and I say flexible because we are flexible month to month, you're not losing anything by coming in and trying the space out. But the month to month flexibility has allowed people to try different services that we have, whether it's just drop in for the day or, use a meeting room or go to one of the offices. It's try to find a space or the community that works best.
So as you quite rightly pointed out, I mean, I don't think that there are going to be any shortage of things that we're going to talk about today, but certainly the pandemic has revealed a number of things that you touched on. One of those being that whether it was necessarily by choice or by instruction, more and more people have been working out of office or out of the conventional office setting, many finding themselves working from home. And as you touched on, some people have a more vibrant environment at home, perhaps with the younger children running around, and that's not really conducive to the work environment, certainly not professional. There are also those people who've decided, I don't really want members of the public, and not to go too far into stranger world, but coming into my house. to meet with me. So tell us about the environment really that SuiteWorks Business Centers offers as an alternative from working from home.
Absolutely. We hear it on a daily, almost on a daily, definitely weekly basis, where part of our virtual office packages are just that. It's okay. It's great. I used to have people come to my house and this and that, but with the pandemic, I've just decided we need to change it up. And now I'm talking to them again, and they're like, that was the best decision I made, because I can still have a professional address. I can still come in and use your space when I need it. I don't have to pay for anything overhead wise. And I actually have made that separation between business and home, which that is the biggest one that we're finding, is people were having a hard time with the separation, because, I'll just put down my laptop now, or, I'll jump on at 10 o'clock at night, or, I'll do it after this. But then they weren't really stopping. The constant thought process was happening during that time. So it gave them the opportunity to have that break that they needed and separate the two.
And that separation really is important. You see that even actually in the education system, why the curriculum separates the maths from the arts, from the physical, phys eds, et cetera, to give the brain an opportunity to change it up and to switch gears. And I, so one of the things that we heard throughout the pandemic, and not to make any light of it, but either people were getting married, pets, pregnant, or something. But the other thing that happened was there was a fair amount of marital separation and divorce that came out during that same period. And maybe it was about 6 or 9 months later during the pandemic. But to have people all under one roof all the time and not have that separation, I think that there are experts who would suggest it wasn't the healthiest of environments.
Well, you know what? I'm all for, if you can work from home for a little bit, why not, right? Like, you need to be able to have the flexibility to work where you want to work and to find an environment that you excel in. And what we're finding now, and right before the pandemic as well, is people just need that break going into a different location to sit down and just focus. So wherever they had spent their time before, they had found those distractions, whatever they may have been within that environment. So then they come to our place where there's multiple different places or products that they can choose from that can put them into the right category of where they want to be just to excel. We have a lot of tech type people that are sitting there online, and as you know, they're computer based. They just go, right? They don't lift their head up. But then we have a lot of other people within our facility, whether they're lawyers, financial, insurance, medical, for that matter. They love to network, and it's pretty hard to network from home because there's something to be said about that face-to-face interaction. And yes, Zoom is great. Google Meets are great, things like that. But that tangible experience of knowing that you can get a coffee, walk down the hallway, just walk past somebody and know that you have some resources within the community that we have here that can assist at any time.
And let's talk about that for a second. I think you touched on something that is critical. We talked about it a little bit before. There's a difference between sort of the brick and mortar and the culture. But let's touch on some of that culture and some of that intangible benefit of working in a business center. And maybe let's start with really, Kerri, from your perspective and your understanding. I mean, obviously, there's a mindset that you and your team has put together into developing really the culture at SuiteWorks Business Center. But what is the difference between a business center at SuiteWorks and some of the other spaces that we might be familiar at that are more commonly referred to as co-working spaces?
I think when you look at co-working and or business centers like we have, it's the more of the hands-on touch, the personal touch, the professionalism that we provide to every business that comes through the door, whether the company's a virtual company and you're using the mailing address, or whether you're full-fledged here full-time with us. The service is no different. With us as a business center, we'd like to offer more seminars, more marketing ideas, more client interaction. And again, it goes back to the professionalism that we provide on a day-to-day basis, where co-working, you come, you go, you're not really landed anywhere specific, but it gives you the flexibility that you need. But you can still have that in a business center with a little bit more of the professionalism that you may need.
And I think you touched on it just a moment ago. Aside from having that white glove or concierge service, there is the ability to do things that you cannot do from the kitchen table or from working at home. As you said, it's kind of hard to network, certainly in person when you're at home. But in being in an environment and a culture where there are other professionals, and those professionals might be in a different industry, but likely share some of the same challenges or objectives as you in your business. What are some of the benefits that you might have seen over the 18 years of having an environment really where business owners can network and sort of share their stories with each other?
I think, honestly, the thing that I love the most is that people come in with the expectation of, we'll probably be able to network with one or two companies within the environment. But then when they have and I call it a random interaction with somebody that they wouldn't expect, somebody's an engineer and now they're talking to a medical professional, but yet now they've got a common goal with something that they were chatting about. And oh my goodness, didn't you know that they need an electrician somewhere else and they need something to do with medical? And then the conversations happen. And I love the glow and enthusiasm when somebody comes back up and talks to us to say, hey, I never knew this. This is so great. I can't believe it. Why didn't I come here sooner? It's just we're providing a place for a diverse type of entrepreneur, established business, whatever it may be in that regards, to come and network. You're not in a silo here. You can be if you'd like to be, but everybody wants to network in some form here.
And that's one of the interesting things that we've noticed, certainly in the marketing. You touched on marketing and marketing similar opportunities as such. But, the world doesn't have to be an either or scenario, and it doesn't have to have a pendulum that swings one way or extreme or the other. There is no way to provide that caliber and value that networking offers. The ability that really like-minded people, good people, want to do business with other good people. And if you can provide a referral, or if you can be that referral to assist somebody, there may not necessarily be money or an exchange in a transaction between those two people, but the value of the referral is so powerful. So I'm glad you really highlight that opportunity there.
I think just with the diverse type of clientele we have, we get asked weekly, do you know somebody? Is there somebody you would recommend? And for the most part, we can. I mean, of course, there are some industries that we aren't able to, but we might reach out to somebody in the community and say, hey, are you able to help this client of ours? Again, it's all about helping each other. Nobody's left to do it on their own.
So SuiteWorks, as you said, is about to celebrate an 18th year in business. So much has changed over the last 18 years, for sure. Forget the last 18 years. What are some of the things that you're noticing? There's some constants, obviously, but there are some changes. And how has SuiteWorks Business Center stayed at the forefront of that ever-changing landscape that we refer to as business?
I think it's just that you have to be open-minded and you have to be able to change and go with somewhat of the flow in the world today. We've tried, we've failed in some areas. We've tried again, tried some new areas. The interesting thing that I find happening right now is we're kind of going back to our early days of where the business was originally. It was stopcommuting.ca. It was, use the co-working spaces, use the full-time spaces, the flexibility. And it's interesting after 18 years to kind of roll back into that same type of philosophy that the business was originally built upon. So again, trial and error, trying to try new things and learning a lot as we go, right? It's in trying to understand the clientele. We want to help everybody come in through the door. So if we don't ask the questions, we're not going to learn. It's not about us thinking we've got this grandiose idea and people are just going to come, because we all know how that works, because that doesn't always happen. So it's about getting to know the clients, taking the feedback from our clients that have been with us, whether it's meeting space, full-time, part-time, whatever it might be. And we've continued to cycle through and improved upon some of the services that we may have maybe left dormant because we didn't think it was something that was needed, but realized, holy crap, we probably should have done that 4 or 5 years ago, that type of idea.
Well, let's touch on that a little bit. If there's one thing we know, by the way, real estate's expensive, but as part of the anniversary celebrations of the 18th year in business, SuiteWorks has undertaken a massive reinvestment into the actual workspace, the business center itself. What are some of the things that the people can look forward to seeing?
Well, we've upgraded all of our meeting room technology. We have upgraded our booking system online, our website, as well as, of course, doing aesthetic changes within the building. Built 6 new offices. There'll be 6 more coming as well. Just the lay of the land is the same because it's us, but there'll be some differences when you walk through the building, and we're trying to make things a little bit easier for people to obtain what they need, whether it's booking a room, looking at their account, coming, into a meeting room and knowing, oh, that was easy. Because a lot of people have the fear of technology. So they want to be able to know that they can just come and hook up and away they go. So it's exciting time for us. 18 years, it's mind blowing, really. So it's exciting.
So tell me this. I mean, I'm not the world's biggest techie. I probably was about 30 years ago or something like that. You've got a great team, and you've got a great person that's creating and is able to assist with the technology and able to assist with the meeting. Maybe give people a little bit of an idea of who they have supporting them in their business, even if they really are a solopreneur, but they want to put on an event.
Absolutely. Emily Halbert is our community manager. Let me tell you, she's a firecracker. She will absolutely greet you when you come in, take care of all your needs. She will ask you the questions if the question wasn't asked of something else. Very open and welcoming in regards to trying to find a solution if we haven't provided one already to you. But she'll take care of your needs, whether it's setup, projection, and I say projection, but you know what I mean. Projection, and whether it's catering, but just making sure that your guests and or your team are welcomed and respected while they're here. She's amazing at it.
Absolutely. And she is. I've had the pleasure of meeting her a few times. So again, now let's get back to some of the changing, the evolution of business as we know it. One of the other things that came out of including in the pandemic, and you talked about it again, 18 years in business, SuiteWorks has seen a recession at least once before as an organization. We saw certainly the 2008, 2009 sort of fallout that was deemed to be the worst since the Great Depression. and some business owners have survived that, including certainly, thankfully, SuiteWorks business centers. But in addition to that, now we just did really go through, if you want to call it that, unofficially got through the pandemic. There are those who are thinking, although we might not see it officially tagged as such, that we are in recession mode now. We're already there. The numbers are suggesting we're already there, even if the label's not on it. But let me just put 2 and 2 together a little bit here. Also, as a result of the pandemic, we did see a couple of things happening. 1, we've seen businesses laying off employees, but 2, we've also seen people saying, hey, you know what? This is a wake-up call for me. I don't need to do that anymore. I'm going to turn my side hustle into a business, or I see an opportunity to start a business, and they're coming out of the pandemic, maybe with no previous business experience whatsoever, but thinking about starting a business. Now, starting a business has a lot of things that a person has to take into consideration from a capital perspective and an operational perspective. Why does SuiteWorks Business Center make sense to somebody who's in the early stages of starting their business?
The early stages, in the sense of we take care of everything so you can focus on that. You don't need to worry about janitorial services. You don't need to worry about paying the hydro of your new location. You don't need to worry about what's going on and all the operational side of things. You need to focus on building your business and getting everything established. So when you come in, here's your workspace, or, use your meeting room, whatever you need to do. Let us know what you need. And if we can connect you with somebody else, we will. And the city of Barrie is amazing at helping entrepreneurs as well get going. So there's always resources to be had.
So I'm hearing leveraging resources basically, and pooling, really the benefit of pooling those together.
Why not? Really? It just makes sense. I mean, everybody can use somebody's expertise. Nobody knows everything. So why not share?
So that's fantastic. I know that I can walk in, I can meet somebody, or someone will meet me, take care of me, guide me through. I'm surrounded in like company by like-minded people. All of my operational and overhead things are taken care of. What else do I need to consider as a brand new person who's thinking about starting in business? And I don't know what the landscape looks like yet.
Well, you need flexibility, and that's something that we offer. Flexibility in regards to, you can drop in for the day and just use us for the day. You can be, here for a month and only stay a month, or you can just automatically do a month-to-month agreement. It rolls over every 30 days until you no longer need our services, or you choose to change your package, whatever it might be. You're not tied to any of these long-term leases that you feel like you can never get out of if your business changes direction.
I think that is critical. I mean, right now, as I said, again, we have to be mindful. The world is changing. Technology is changing. Everything is changing. The people involved are changing. We're also in what has been referred to as uncertain economic times. Interest rates are at their highest in recent memory, certainly over 10 years. There are a lot of variables. And I think, as you touched on, it's very important to realize, do I want to sign a 5-year lease today? And maybe I will. Maybe I will down the road, but establishing proof of concept and getting that sort of, the first year under our belt as an option of having that flexibility in a month to month certainly sounds to me like it relieves some of that burden or stress that would otherwise be in a longer term agreement.
Absolutely. We've had clients that said, I'm only needing it for 6 months. It's just startup. I'm going to go find all this brick and mortar. I'm going to be out of here. And then they get in here and realize, oh, wait, I can scale up. I can scale down. I can go in whatever direction I need to with 30 days notice. So I've had a client that's been with us for 15 years now. They started in a cubicle and now they have over 1,000 square feet with us. So, and they were one of the people that had said, I'm here for 6 months tops. And they just loved how they could scale when they needed to scale.
So it sounds to me, if I'm hearing this correctly, and again, I don't want to come across too much as an advertorial, but I can walk in and I can sign up and do my month-to-month agreement with SuiteWorks Business Centers, and SuiteWorks takes care of upgrading the technology, the fiber, the projection, as we referred to it, or the AV equipment. SuiteWorks taking care of that on my behalf.
Correct.
All right. That sounds fantastic. Now, the other thing that you talked about really was the intangibles. And you talked also at the beginning really about the importance of education. What are some of the programming that SuiteWorks offers? You're doing your 9 to 5 or your hour a day or your half day, whatever it may be. But what are some of the other opportunities as a member of the SuiteWorks business community?
We've started to do some more networking events. It was a little bit hard pressed when, of course, COVID or the pandemic was involved. So now we've gone into hosting monthly seminars with SIVA, of course, and then we also are doing our socials. So we're trying to get everybody to network. We're doing the roundtable hot networking, which was just last week. So we're trying to engage people again and trying to educate people that way. And then now we've opened up to all of our community within SuiteWorks to, if they'd like to host a seminar, if they'd like to provide resources to the community. So that's a new program that we're doing now that everybody seems to be a little bit more willing to be involved and to do some things. So we're building our whole new system with our community to provide more education.
And I think for those who haven't had the opportunity to visit the SuiteWorks Business Center space, you have a website. You said it is brand new. Where are people going to check it out?
SuiteWorks.ca. And on there, you'll be able to find out everything about us. But as well, you can go into the booking system as well. Check your available dates. Check to see what times are available, whether it's a drop-in cubicle, part-time office, that type of idea. We're starting there, and then we're going to open it up even further once we see that everything is working great.
So whether you're looking for a full-time place to call your business's home, whether you're looking for just a drop-in for a day, you want to host an event or a networking opportunity, you want to tap into some technology, you just need a temporary space while your place is under renovation or something along those lines, SuiteWorks Business Centers offers all of those options to your clients.
You got it.
Well, let me ask you one last thing, Kerri. If SuiteWorks was able to change the world by doing just one thing, what would it be?
It would probably be to just be able to help everybody that comes into the facility and be able to propel their businesses forward.
Excellent. With that in mind, Kerri, what can people expect coming forward on future episodes of the podcast? What can we anticipate, and why is this worth tuning into and putting on your subscribe list?
We're going to be educating. It's all about education. In my brain, I would like to educate the people in regards to business centers. You're going to see special guests, whether it's an accountant, whether it's a real estate agent, whether it's a marketing person, whether it's a lawyer, but basically seeing how everybody can either utilize their services and or how they can help somebody that's been working from home or helping an enterprise client do something that they need to do to move their business forward. There'll be special guests that will shed a light on pretty much all aspects.
Well, Kerri Diggle, president of SuiteWorks Business Centers, I want to thank you for the opportunity to get to know you, to get to know SuiteWorks Business Centers a little bit better, to introduce this podcast and really the services of the center to the small business and business networking community. And it's been great to share some time with you. I look forward to your next episode.
Thanks so much, Arif.